Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar, Essential Oils and Emotions 101, Understanding the Fundamentals with Enlightened Healing. We are so excited to have you here today. Thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to share with us and to learn from us a little bit more about essential oils and emotions and how the two can work together to really help us to process through some of the difficult things in our lives and to help us work on some of the things and some of the emotions that we want to experience more often. My name is Brandy Rainey. I'm your facilitator for today, and I am a huge essential oils fan. I was actually the director of marketing for an industry-leading essential oils company several years ago, and I have just been hooked ever since. My family and I, we use essential oils every single day, and I just am thrilled about the things that I'm learning now through Enlightened about how essential oils can help me not only with the physical things that I'm working on in my life, but also with the emotional things that I'm working through as well. So I'm excited and just so thrilled to be with you and share this great information today. I'd like to introduce you to today's presenter, Ms. Amanda Porter. Amanda is the managing partner for Enlightened Healing, and she's also a founding member of the company. She's a certified facilitator with the Institute of Healing Arts, and most importantly, she is the co-author of Enlightened's best-selling book, Emotions and Essential Oils. It is our privilege to have her today just to talk to us a little bit about the basics and the foundations of oils and emotions and how the two work together. So I'm excited to introduce her, and we'll let her share a little bit more about Enlightened and about the company's mission.
Thank you for the intro, Brandy, and thanks to everyone for participating today. So we created Enlightened 5 years ago out of a desire to share our passion for helping others with emotional healing. The company's founders had all attended the Institute of Healing Arts, and we met there, and we became facilitators and teachers. And well, the Institute teaches alternative methods for processing emotional pain. It helps you get to the root of issues in the subconscious. So it's the how-to of releasing emotional issues. And we all end up working with clients and sort of assisting them in their healing journey as well.
So I had an opportunity to attend a seminar at the IHA about a month ago, and it really was amazing. It's just incredible the work that Pam Robinson and her team is doing out there, just helping people to look back through their history and their life experience and find things that may have been difficult for them to process or traumatic experiences that they've been through, and start to talk about those and think through those things and work through some of the pain or fear or associations that we have with those. It was fantastic. I'm so excited about the work that she's doing and about the work that you are all doing as facilitators from there. So tell me a little bit about how you guys came to incorporate oils into this healing process.
Okay, yeah, so we had all used essential oils in our individual practices, and one of our partners was actually pioneering into the incredible emotional benefits that that essential oils offer that was largely being overlooked, and then asked us to help share that information with others. So we're always asked how the creation of the content happened, and simply the information was garnered through research on the oils themselves, including things like the botanical properties, the physical uses, symbolic properties, and so on. Additionally, the characteristics of each essential oil manifested through personal and professional use, and then also from research, case studies conducted by countless others on the mind-body benefits experienced through essential oil use.
All right, I think that is incredible, and it's true. I love what you said about there's research that's out there for us to take a look at, ton of scientific information that we can look at, and then so much of it too with essential oils is just intuitive. We just find that we're drawn to what we need, or we just feel that we can just reach for that right bottle and support. And of course, you know, they're all supported in different ways, and no matter which one we choose to reach for, we're going to find some success in that. But today's webinar is about how to reach for the right ones based on whatever emotional state we're in, or things we might be dealing with, or new emotions that we want to sort of bolster in our own spirits. Let's get right into it. So let's talk specifically about essential oils and about how they can help to support us in our emotional healing.
Okay, great. So on the foundational level, first, it's helpful to note that essential oils can assist us in 5 main ways or 5 major areas. They can strengthen the physical body. They can assist in healing the heart. They empower us to address our limiting beliefs, increase spiritual awareness and connection, and also inspire us to live true to ourselves and to our life's purpose. So let's look at the first way, strengthening us physically. So caring for and honoring the physical body prepares us to grow and progress in then these additional ways. So we need to address healing holistically. It's hard to be emotionally well and physically sick. So we've got to feel good before we can find the energy, the desire, the passion, etc., to improve in these other areas. To make a point of that, the psychologist Abraham Maslow postulated a hierarchy of needs long time ago. And the hierarchy outlines the holistic needs of each person. And it starts with basic needs and then moves up into other needs that every individual has. But it starts with survive and then thrive. So basically, you have to feel safe in the wilderness before you can appreciate the beauty in it.
That makes total sense. It reminds me, actually, we have a 2-year-old, and she's in swimming lessons. Yesterday, picked her up from daycare, and she was a little off. She was a little bit feverish, and they said she was just kind of mellow throughout the day, and I could tell she just didn't feel great. And she's usually super active, completely energetic, sort of nuts, and she loves being in the pool. And I thought, oh, she'll just kind of, she'll sort of work her way through it. We'll get to the pool, and she'll be excited to see the water, and she'll hop in, and we'll have a great rest of the day. And she did. She tried. You could tell she wanted to be excited, and she hopped in the water with her dad, and they were going through her lesson. She started crying about halfway through and just wanted to get out. And it just speaks to this. No matter how much she loves it or how excited she was, physically she wasn't quite all there. She just didn't feel great. And she was hungry, we found out a little bit later. So those two things played in together, and she didn't have the best swimming lesson she's ever had. It just illustrates and shows that if we don't take care of these basic needs, if our tummies aren't full and we aren't firing 100% physically, it's hard for us to work on learning something new or being somebody new or any of those kinds of things. And, I think it also works in a reverse. Just like a cold or, whatever it is my daughter's working through limits our abilities a little bit, our desire to go for a walk or clean the house or do any of those things. And for me, if I'm not feeling great, I have a really hard time to give my clients an awesome and creative 8 hours when I'm working at the office. But if I'm dealing with something emotionally, like if I'm worried about finances, or I was in an argument with my husband in the morning, or I had just a sort of hairy, crazy day, I'm concerned about a doctor's appointment my mom has, whatever it may be, if I'm dealing with something emotionally, I find that it works the same way. Those same issues sort of manifest physically as well. So I find that I don't have the energy that I normally have, or I've got a tension headache, or I just have a hard time focusing. So I get it. What you are saying is absolutely true. We've got to feel good to strive to be better physically and emotionally.
Absolutely. Yeah, and really, you just perfectly illustrated what we call the mind-body connection. So worry and stress is mental, but it can cause ulcers, which is physical. They're absolutely connected, and physical illness is very often just an outward manifestation of our emotional state. They're definitely intertwined. Our body mirrors. It literally manifests unresolved emotional issues through sickness and disease. So when thoughts and feelings are not properly dealt with, they build up and can create energetic blocks that can then go on to affect our physical health if they're left undealt with. So take, for example, the common and chronic state of being overly driven, being overworked. So you always need to go further, to push harder, to do more, to be more. Overwork is accompanied by being overstressed and overstimulated and usually underrested. So how then do we compensate for the effect that this has on our bodies? Well, usually we turn to physical stimulants and synthetic forms of energy to keep up our patterns. But unfortunately, this results in a cycle of dependence on these substitutes and then leaves us in a constant need of an external source of, stimulation. And then complicating matters, we actively resist the body's request for rest and relaxation and rejuvenation, and then that leads to burnout and exhaustion, and then eventually will lead to, immune system depletion and sickness. So now, while we could assume that we're caught in a purely physical pattern of imbalance, we're actually caught in an emotional pattern as well that directly affects our health and happiness. So what is driving us to overwork and ignore our physical needs? There's definitely an emotional connection there. There just always is. So that's why it's so important to embrace the reality of both aspects of the mind-body connection and acknowledge how they work in tandem with each other.
Well, I think it's awesome, and it's such a great example because I know for me it's true. I don't think we realize that we're overworked. I think sometimes we paint it as ambition or responsibility and all of those things, and there I am with my cup of coffee and my Diet Coke, exactly as you said, trying to get through the day. And there's a lot at play because I do find, I've got to now have that coffee to make it through the next day, or I need my little 2 o'clock pick-me-up Diet Coke to help me get through, and I'm not even recognizing that there is an emotional thing at play, but you're absolutely right. I have children to provide for, and I have goals and ambitions in life, and that's certainly happening. So we've been talking about examples up to now that are just sort of simple everyday issues that we all face. I mean, we are all overworked, we're all overstressed, we all deal with, the common cold or just being exhausted. Do essential oils work the same way for bigger issues and bigger emotional concerns?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So in addition, like Brandy was saying, to helping with seasonal stress or things with work or family relationships or any kind of, smaller imbalance, essential oils can have powerful benefits for those working on more long-term or more serious emotional conditions like depression or even PTSD. So longer term, more deeply held pain, trauma can be positively affected as working towards healing our subconscious. And the subconscious is behind everything that we think we are. So it's the force behind all of our reactions, our coping strategies, our beliefs, our fears, and what have you. It stores a record of everything we ever experience and what we decide about that experience. So no amount of force or willpower, this is really important to note, no force can unwind the core beliefs held in the subconscious. It's only by gentle persuasion that it can be healed. And essential oils offer such persuasion. And they do this by eliciting positive chemical messages from the brain. It's a little bit complicated of a process. It's also really simple. But basically, they interrupt negative patterns or thoughts. They send different messages, and they assist us eventually in regaining our emotional equilibrium.
It makes total sense to me, and I do have, quite a bit of experience with essential oils, and not really from a scientific or a chemical messaging to the brain from that aspect, but I do know for a fact through years of research and study that I've done just on aromatherapy that fragrance can influence our mood. We walk into a house where warm cookies are baking, and suddenly you're just happy and you feel like, you've had a hug. And it works the same with essential oils. It's just like, the physical application of lavender oil on a cut or a burn. We know that the oil can help to soothe those and can help the skin to rejuvenate and can help us to process through that physically. But I also know intuitively that the fragrance also soothes my mind. It helps to take away any fear that I have or any concern that I might be experiencing because of whatever happened that had us in a place where we were applying lavender to a cut or a bruise. I see that. It does work. It changes the pattern of thought as I just, apply that lavender to a scraped knee or to a burn. I experience both a physical and an emotional reaction from that. So, okay, this is fun, and I think we're all getting it and kind of following how this is working. So help share a couple of just real simple and practical ways, like I just said with the lavender, but more experienced professional ways that we can experiment with the oils and how they can help us support ourselves emotionally.
Okay, so sorry, Brandy. I guess I was on mute. To answer your question, One of my favorite getting started activities with learning to use essential oils to support us emotionally is simply to just ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? So for me personally, I'm not entirely comfortable with presentations and public speaking, so I'm feeling a little anxious, especially when I accidentally put myself on mute. So, but specifically, I'm also working from Europe for a few months. So I'm finding that I'm feeling a little disconnected and a little overworked. So we're trying to create this amazing life experience for our family, and I'm managing a business back in the States. So it's incredible and it's stressful.
All right, I don't know if you guys were able to hear that. So we lost Amanda for a minute, and she came back. Amanda, you sound not as clear as you were before, so I don't know if you changed something. What she was telling you is that she's in Europe, and I'm not at all jealous about that, from my office here in Salt Lake City. Amanda's in Spain with her family, and so we are on an international connection here. So I'm going to see, Amanda, let me see if I can hear you better this time.
Okay, is that any better? Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's a ton better. So let's just go back through your getting started activities. And
no problem. Okay, great. So basically, what I was saying, which is apropos, is that I start with asking myself, how am I feeling right now? That's where you should just start. Really simple, really straightforward. And the perfect example I gave was that I'm not entirely comfortable with presentations and public speaking, so I'm feeling anxious. You know, put myself on mute or turn the wrong thing. And then also, as Brandy said, I'm also working from Europe for a few months. So, you know, I'm finding that I'm feeling a little disconnected. I'm also feeling a little overworked. So we're trying to create this amazing life experience, like she said, for our family. And I'm managing a business back in the States. So it's really incredible, but it's also really stressful at the same time.
Okay, that's it. So the process here is just to sort of stop and say, okay, how am I feeling right now? And in our example, Amanda has identified 3 emotions that she's experiencing right now. You know, she said she was feeling anxious and disconnected and overworked. So once you've identified how you feel, which sometimes is a little bit harder to do than to say, but once you've experienced that and been able to pinpoint that, then what comes next?
So next is I'm going to turn to the usage guide from our book, Emotional Healing with Essential Oils and Same in Emotions and Essential Oils, and look up oils that can help with how I'm feeling now that they've been identified. So in the usage guide, some of the oils that are listed under anxiety and stress are basil. So number 1, basil, it works on a physical and emotional level to promote relaxation to both the heart and the mind. Another one that's really great is spearmint. And spearmint assists us with clarity of thought and confident verbal expression. I need that now. Too bad it's out of reach, but I do. And then finally, we've got like massage blends. Now, generally massage blends include oils like basil or marjoram or wintergreen or peppermint or other mints. These are great for releasing tension and constriction, not just physically, but also emotionally. And they allow things to sort of open up and flow. So now that you identified a few oils that will support me with how I'm feeling, I'll incorporate them into my daily routine or as needed. So I can apply them directly to my pulse points in the back of my neck, or I can diffuse in my office. And I'm actually using a massage blend right now. So and then I can use them in massage, physically, or the reflexology on the feet, or I can inhale them directly from the bottle.
So it really can be as simple as that. So we just go, okay, I'm feeling anxiety, I'm feeling stress, reach for our usage guide, oil that's recommended, basil, spearmint, and then, inhale directly from the bottle or apply, pulse points, and we're better, and we can address that and get through that, which is awesome. And of course, now addressing longer-term and more debilitating issues requires more work, and we'll have to obviously continue to use the oils. But I really do think this helps to illustrate how we can get started with using oils to address our needs. So you also told me you're feeling disconnected. What are you doing to work with that?
So basically, back to the usage guide, we'll look at things like connected and grounded. And under that, we find oils like cedarwood and marjoram. And both cedarwood and marjoram help us to connect to people and remind us of the value of shared support and community. And then there's also oils like spruce and vetiver, and those are classic, just kind of grounding, balancing oils. And then you can also find a grounding blend. And grounding blends usually contain tree oils like spruces, fir, and generally they're helpful for stability. Think about trees, just helpful for stability and reminding us to be present. And so all of these would be excellent oils for supporting the state, the state that I'm experiencing, or any kind of ungrounded or disconnected state. And we'll be here for several more months. So what I'll need to do then is to use these oils regularly, and also to work through some additional emotional healing techniques. So this could be journaling or meditation, or any kind of other support to just help to start me feel more connected and grounded.
Okay, that's awesome. It's not incredibly difficult. Makes total sense. And we wish you success in that journey working through those. You're doing a fantastic job with this presentation and managing everything you've got going on. So we just wanted to remind you, for those of you who haven't purchased one of the books, there are some wonderful resources for you out on the website. So go to our Learn tab under Resources, and you'll find a list of basic sort of everyday emotions and a few recommended oils for addressing them. So if you want to get started and you want to try, and you don't yet have the book, make sure that you're on the website, and we'll give you some references for everyday things that people experience and go through, so you can start to use oils and incorporate them to help you in dealing with some of your emotional states. Okay, so Amanda, just lastly, can you share another approach for using the information from Enlightened on how to discover which of the oils we should be using? We've given them this one idea. Let's give them one more.
Absolutely. So rather than starting with how you're currently feeling, you can always ask yourself, what do you want? What do you want to bring into your life? What do you want to let go of? So for this type of an exercise of drawing things to us that we need and letting go of things that we don't, we'll take a look at the usage guide again. There's a whole bunch of emotions and different states and everything listed, so it makes it really, really simple. But you can just make a note of 5 emotionally charged words that you find there that really resonate with you. And remember that less is more here. We don't want a shotgun kind of approach and get as many things as you can think of. You get better results with a focused approach. And once you have a list, you research those words, and you make a list of the oils that then go with those words.
I think that is just a key point. So I'm gonna create a list, and I'm going to choose the 5 sort of words that resonate with me. And I love that I'm asking myself 2 things: what do I want to bring to my life, and what do I want to let go of? A lot of times we spend a lot of time focused on what we want to let go of, and less time focused on what we want to bring to ourselves.
Right.
So
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that's fantastic.
Absolutely. So basically, from there, once you've made your list, you then go and read the oil descriptions from the front of the book. So, and then you narrow down the issues that you want to heal and the qualities you wish to develop that will bring the balance to your life, just like Brandy was saying. And then you just start using those oils in your regimen and watch what happens. And really, don't be surprised to find new thoughts or feelings surfacing, because it's amazing what your mind and your heart are willing to offer once they're given a little encouragement and a little space for healing. Just be prepared to give those thoughts and feelings a healthy outlet. And journaling, I think, is one of the best tools to use. Regardless of where you are in your healing, it's gentle and it's so insightful and it's easy and it's not scary. It's just perfect. So, and just like using the oils, it's also really powerful, but it's just uncomplicated. And it doesn't need to be complicated. The biggest hurdle, though, is just being willing to experiment, using essential oils for emotions, and to not be attached to the outcome.
I think it's a magic word that you just said, well, magic phrase, don't be attached to them. It's such a key point. You know, I think I know what I need. Most of the time I think I've got this great idea of really what I should be doing to make things better, but in reality I could be totally wrong. I mean, we talked about earlier that a lot of the issues that we deal with emotionally are rooted in our subconscious. So we've got these emotional blocks and we've got these challenges, and we can't see them. We don't even know what's there. We have to take a minute to learn about what's there and really think through and process. You know, it wasn't because my parents were nuts. It was because we moved or whatever, you know, it may be. So I love that. We have to be open to what comes.
Yes, it's important to be open. The whole process of emotional healing is something that we can't see from the beginning. So we just need to be open and allow this process to work in our lives. And really, the process of choosing oils to support ourselves emotionally is really exciting. So just be courageous and let it lead you into unexpected places. Let yourself discover what's there. And also remember to be patient with the process. Though they're powerful facilitators, essential oils will not do your emotional work for you, but they foster a good environment for healing and support, and they allow that healing process to really take shape. But remember that we've still got to be open to the journey and be willing to do the work required to feel better. But it's important to note that we can feel better, and we can.
I think it's awesome. Thank you so much for your encouragement and your positivity. I know, you know, in your practice and with Enlightened, you've seen so many people who have been able to heal and to work through the things that they need to work through, and also to bring some of those good and positive emotions into their lives that they were hoping that they could with the use of essential oils. So it's awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your special insight. And now here at the close of the webinar, we just want to thank you, listeners, as well. Thank you for taking the time out of your lives to learn more about how you can be empowered to feel better and to think better and do better things with essential oils. And again, today's webinar was really just the foundation of essential oils and emotional healing, about how oils can work and support us in the body, and to give us just a couple of practical ideas that we can use every single day to employ essential oils to help us work through the issues and the daily stressors of our lives. We encourage you to try these things and to practice them, and to use the oils that you have on hand, experiment, and be bold and courageous, as Amanda said. So we are going to be providing ongoing monthly webinars for information on how oils can support more specific concerns and more seasonal concerns, really to help us through all the seasons of the life, all of the seasons of life. So this is a foundational course. Make sure you stay close to the Enlightened website to find out information on our ongoing websites, where you can learn, our ongoing webinars, where you can learn more information about essential oils and how they can help us, you know, in the month of June, or help us through the holidays, help us through the seasons. We're excited to continue to provide information and resources and to help everybody being better and to feeling better. Thanks again to Amanda. Thanks to you guys for joining us today. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.